What are you
You get
talking
triggered
about?
by the Sly for Vaughn comments. They be saying Sly for Vaughn. I think they trolling me.
The reason I just don't see the comments no more.
Cameras captured the aftermath.
This man, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight.
We want to begin now with some breaking news. Rapper Lil Durk is...
Stop whatever you're doing because the internet just exploded harder than a reality TV reunion episode. A shocking court video allegedly leaked, and suddenly everyone thinks they're a federal agent with Wi-Fi. And the name at the center of this digital earthquake: Lil Durk. Yes, Mr. They on my page like Slide for Vaughn himself. The clip sent social media into cardiac arrest so fast, even TikTok needed a moment to breathe. The moment that footage hit the timeline. Fans, haters, bloggers, aunties, fake lawyers, and people who haven't paid their own parking tickets in years all jumped online screaming. Durk's fate just took a dark turn. The kind of dark turn that makes the Kardashians' divorce arcs look like preschool nap time. The kind of twist that makes Netflix true crime producers start sharpening pencils. Rumors started floating faster than a bad haircut on Twitter. People swore they saw fear in Durk's eyes. Others said he looked slimmer, quieter, different, like the courtroom pressure pressed pause on his whole aura. And then there were the conspiracy detectives piecing together lyrics, interviews, and vibes like this was the Avengers assembling against Thanos. This isn't just tea. This is scalding, boiling, steam dash, burn dash, your dash eyebrows dash off tea. Stay right here because the story only gets darker, crazier, and more unbelievable from here. From the moment the alleged court clip popped up online, the internet turned into a full-blown disaster movie. You could practically hear phones overheating from coast to coast as people dove headfirst into the chaos. And at the center of the earthquake was Lil Durk, walking into court looking noticeably thinner, quieter, heavier in the face, and surrounded by attention so thick even the chairs looked uncomfortable. Fans swore he cut his dreads. Others said he looked like he hadn't slept since the convoy days. And the real kicker: a list of judicial updates that read like a legal horror script. According to courtroom attendees, the judge denied Durk's motion to disqualify, denied the motion to dismiss for vagueness, took 2 motions under advisement, and allowed both sides to submit more paperwork by Friday. The legal language was so intense that even people who never passed English class were suddenly Googling terms like Bill of Particulars, like their life depended on it. Instead of clearing things up, it only sparked confusion, panic, and heated debates across the no-jumper universe. Suddenly, the no-jumper set turned into a courtroom of its own. Hosts were arguing about morality, loyalty, kids, jail, and whether rappers should even be discussed on platforms that aren't wearing robes and wigs. Someone said, "Durk already told me I shouldn't come back here after the last episode," which only fueled conspiracy theories. Another host protested that throwing allegations before evidence was disrespectful. But the back and forth sounded less like journalism and more like a group project. Nobody prepared for it. Then the transcript bomb dropped. Online reports said prosecutors allegedly pulled information from a supposed group chat suggesting Durk was furious that certain members hadn't retaliated for King Von. They claimed he was pressuring people, allegedly ordering retaliation and threatening to cut ties. Prosecutors reportedly planned to bring in a witness claiming Durk gave orders. Fans stared at their screens like they were watching the biggest cliffhanger in Chicago music history. Comment sections turned into a battlefield. One half said prosecutors were stretching lyrics, interviews, and vibes to build a case. The other half said the feds never move without paperwork. People brought up King Von. People brought up Quando Rondo. People brought up Lil Pab. Everyone became a detective overnight. Even academics and WAC 100 jumped into the ring, arguing whether allegations counted as evidence or whether hip-hop was being targeted with lazy narratives. But the plot got even messier. One alleged witness suddenly flipped his story. First he claimed there was no bounty. Then he said there was a bounty. Then he tried to remove himself from the case entirely. According to legal commentary, the switch-up might actually help Durk because the witness was supposedly one of the main connective pieces in the prosecutor's theory. Durk's team argued that the witness claiming, "This ain't got nothing to do with me," weakened the insinuation that Durk told him to hire anyone for anything. Fans clung to that moment like a life preserver in a tornado. They called it a win. They said the prosecution's case was falling apart like a cheap wig in humid weather. They said the witness switching his story was proof the whole situation was built on pressure and vibes, not facts. But prosecutors weren't slowing down. They kept dumping pages of new documents into the file, slowing the trial down and making Durk's team sprint to catch up. Even worse, the feds allegedly wanted to tie Durk to an incident involving Quando Rondo in 2021. They used lyrics, interviews, Instagram lives, and timing to create a loose chain of implications. Fans freaked out when prosecutors highlighted the "they" on my page like Slide for Vaughn. "I know they trolling me" line. They connected it to the fact that comments stopped after a certain event. They insinuated timing. They insinuated awareness. They insinuated retaliation, but none of it was concrete. It was all shadows and suggestions, leaving fans confused about what was real and what was rumor. Even legal experts said the case hinged on interpretation rather than solid evidence. But the confusion didn't stop Durk's father from walking out of the courtroom with faith. He said the judge listened fairly. He said the outcome looked promising. He asked the world to keep praying. Fans clung to every word like it was scripture. Meanwhile, social media detectives treated the case like a scavenger hunt. They brought up old interviews, YouTube clips, grainy screenshots, and lyrics written before some viewers were even born. They compared timestamps like it was a college thesis project. They pulled up every time Durk went live after someone passed away. They said he was creating alibis. They claimed he used Instagram as a legal shield. They drew lines between tragedies and live streams, as if that proved anything. And then came the unexpected explosion. Vanny's father entering the chat. Instead of defending his son, he made cryptic statements that shook the internet. He claimed backdoor motives. He claimed hidden money trails. He hinted at betrayals. He hinted that Durk knew certain things. He hinted that payments were made. He said text messages existed. He said bankers would testify. He dropped breadcrumbs so dramatic, every blogger sprinted to make 3 videos before breakfast. But nothing was verified. Nothing was proven. It was rumor layered on speculation, layered on emotional testimony. And fans didn't know what to believe. Some said he was telling the truth. Some said he was grieving and confused. Others said he was reacting to the leaked messages about his son's plea deal. It was a storm of statements with no clarity, no timeline, and no consistency, just noise. As if that wasn't enough, Lil Ted, the younger brother of another suspect, got caught by police with a firearm. His reaction on the body cam footage was instant meltdown. He begged, he panicked. He folded faster than a lawn chair. People online said he was seconds away from reciting the U.S. Constitution, the Chicago bus schedule, and his entire family history just to get leniency. Some feared he'd reveal information. Others said he was irrelevant. But the moment added fuel to an already raging fire. Durk's lawyers, meanwhile, were fighting with precision, filing motions to dismiss based on vagueness. They argued that prosecutors hadn't clearly stated the nature of the alleged bounty. They said the coded language needed to be explained. They wanted to know what reward was allegedly offered, when it was allegedly offered, and how prosecutors could prove anything when they weren't providing specifics. In other words, the defense was calling the prosecution's bluff. But the court wasn't done with surprises. A report surfaced that Durk was placed in solitary after a phone was found in his cell. His team denied it. They said he was being targeted. They said the allegations were exaggerated. They said someone was trying to make an example out of him. Fans split again. Some believed the prison. Some believed Durk's camp. Others just wanted updates. And then came the scariest twist. Reports that Durk was involved in a jail altercation. On the same day, his close friend in Chicago was allegedly targeted. On the same day, his biggest ops did interviews acting humble. Fans didn't buy the timing. The coincidences were too loud, too dramatic, too convenient. By the end of that week, everyone sensed something massive was building. The prosecutors were stacking papers. Witnesses were changing stories. Families were accusing each other. Fans were arguing. Experts were debating. And Durk's entire future felt like it was hanging on a thread made of rumors, contradictions, and courtroom whispers. The story wasn't just messy. It was a full season for cliffhanger. The moment part 1 of this saga hit the internet, the storyline didn't just escalate, it detonated. Social media timelines turned into war zones as fans, bloggers, rappers, aunties, fake lawyers, and professional conspiracy theorists all gathered to dissect Durk's every blink in that courtroom footage. It was like watching the Super Bowl of street politics, except instead of touchdowns, people were counting timestamps, body language shifts, and how many pounds he allegedly lost behind bars. The memes came so fast they needed their own witness protection program. Twitter immediately started diagnosing Durk like they were running an unlicensed medical clinic. He looked stressed. Medical clinic. He looked stressed. He looked guilty. He looked innocent. He looked tired. He looked thinner, but like spiritual thinner. It became a competition of who could create the wildest analysis. One user even wrote, Durk looked like he fought 12 demons and a federal prosecutor in the same night. Another said, Bro walked in the courtroom like life hit him with a subscription he can't cancel. But nothing stirred the pot like the alleged witness drama. People couldn't believe one of the supposed key cooperators had switched stories like he was trying to win an Oscar for Best Plot Twist. First, he said there wasn't a bounty. Then suddenly he insisted there was. Then he claimed he personally had nothing to do with anything and requested his case be separated. The internet didn't know whether to laugh or panic. Some said he folded. Others said he was saving himself. But everyone agreed he confused the case more than he clarified it. Then legal analysts got involved, and things spiraled even deeper. Blogs said that if the witness story was inconsistent, the prosecution's entire theory could crumble. Other blogs argued the opposite, that a shaky witness only made prosecutors push harder. Everyone was debating, but nobody had answers. It was like watching people argue over a movie none of them had actually seen. The contradictions made fans dizzy, but also even more locked in. Meanwhile, academics and WAC 100 went viral for their intense debates over whether Durk's lyrics should be used against him. Academics argued that while the allegations were severe, the prosecutors didn't have a text message that said, "Yeah, do it." But WAC 100 countered that prosecutors already had cooperators on deck, implying the case didn't rely solely on lyrics. Their back and forth went so viral that people started creating remixes of their arguments like it was a Versus battle for legal takes. The public reactions got even louder. When the alleged group chat surfaced, the one prosecutors claimed included heated arguments about retaliation. Fans studied those screenshots harder than they studied for midterms. People highlighted messages, zoomed in on timestamps, and argued about digital formatting like they were investigating a government leak. They treated the chat like holy scripture, except everyone interpreted it differently. The speculation was endless, the theories impossible to verify, and the drama absolutely delicious. But the internet never rests. And the next plot twist arrived courtesy of Vanny, or more specifically, Vanny's father, who appeared out of nowhere like a DLC character dropping into the storyline. Instead of defending his son, he went scorched earth. He claimed backdoor motives. He suggested people played a role in King Von's downfall. He made accusations that set the internet on fire and sent bloggers scrambling for uploads. His statements were so explosive that fans questioned whether they were watching real life or a lost episode of Power. People couldn't wrap their heads around it. Why was Vanny's dad calling out his own son? Why did he hint that Durk allegedly knew things? Why did he sound like a man who knew more than anyone wanted to hear? His tone alone rattled viewers. He spoke with certainty, frustration, and a dash of spiritual exhaustion. Fans said he sounded like a man who had seen too much and had nothing left to lose. Whether he was right, wrong, grieving, or unloading years of pain, his words became the nuclear centerpiece of the entire online debate. But the drama didn't stop there. Next up was Lil Ted, D's younger brother, getting caught by police with a firearm and allegedly folding instantly on body cam. The moment the clip went viral, people acted like they were reviewing his audition tape for Snitching. The musical, his panic, his voice crack, his frantic pleas, everything became meme material. The internet said he looked like he was ready to reveal Chicago's entire history, the Declaration of Independence, and his grandma's biscuit recipe if it meant getting out of that police station. Fans were terrified because Ted allegedly knew too much. He had proximity. He had connections. And if he was panicking over a single firearm charge, people feared he wouldn't be built for the pressure of a wider investigation. The body cam clip became a symbol of vulnerability, fear, and how fast the street narrative could shift in a federal interrogation room. All the while, Durk's lawyers were playing chess against prosecutors who seemed determined to pile on more documents than a college professor assigning finals. The defense pushed hard, requesting details about the alleged coded language. They wanted specifics about the supposed reward, date, time, and conversation. They essentially said, "Show the receipts," and prosecutors didn't show them. The vague accusations, the unclear timeline, the lack of concrete evidence, everything seemed bizarrely thin for a case of such magnitude. But even as Durk's lawyers fought aggressively, every update had fans stressed out. The solitary confinement report didn't help either. Rumors circulated that he was thrown in the hole because of a cell phone found in his possession. His camp said it was false. They insisted he was being targeted unfairly. They said the allegations were exaggerated to make him look guilty. But conflicting reports only added gasoline to the fire. Then the wildest timing ever happened. Durk was allegedly involved in a jail altercation on the exact same day his biggest ops, Quando Rondo and Lil Tim, went on interviews talking peacefully, acting graceful, and sounding more humbled than ever before. Fans looked at the calendar and said, "This timing is too convenient." Conspiracy theories went ballistic. Some people said Quando and Tim were setting up narratives. Others said they were sending subliminals. Others said they were trying to confuse investigators. Suddenly, every small detail became suspicious. Every interview became a clue. Every lyric became evidence. Every social media post became a puzzle piece. The entire internet was treating the situation like a grand mystery where every player had ulterior motives. By the end of this digital riot, fans weren't just invested. They were addicted. They were terrified. They were curious. They were watching the case unfold like it was a Netflix original storyboarded by Twitter's most toxic group chat. And the truth was simple. No matter how many theories surfaced, no matter how many witnesses flipped, no matter how many interviews dropped, The one thing everybody agreed on was this: Lil Durk wasn't just fighting a case. He was fighting an entire narrative machine as the dust from the online firestorm settled. It became obvious that Lil Durk wasn't just dealing with a case. He was dealing with an entire digital circus that refused to shut down. Every new development, every court update, every leaked document had the internet spiraling into a fresh frenzy. And the aftermath was brutal. Fans who once rode for him unconditionally were now split into factions like it was Game of Thrones. Each group convinced their theory was airtight. One side insisted Durk was being targeted because of his fame. They said prosecutors loved turning rap lyrics into legal language. They said the feds had a history of chasing high-profile hip-hop figures just to prove a point. The other side argued that where there's smoke, there has to be fire, or at least sparks. They pointed to every vague motion, every witness, every rumor, acting like they personally solved the case in their group chat. The truth lay somewhere in the chaos, but nobody wanted the truth. They wanted drama. And this case was delivering it on a silver platter. The solitary confinement reports sent fans into a panic spiral. Some said Durk was locked away to protect him. Others said it was punishment. Others swore it was the system trying to break him mentally before trial. Nobody had solid evidence, but speculation didn't need evidence, just Wi-Fi. Durk's camp insisted the phone allegations were exaggerated, but fans had heard too many stories about contraband phones in prison to take anyone's word for it. The conversation turned into a philosophical debate over who was lying less. Then came the altercation rumors. Reports said Durk was involved in a conflict behind bars. Coincidentally, around the time his close friend outside was also allegedly targeted. The timing was too perfect, almost suspiciously perfect. Fans started stitching together a timeline so detailed it looked like a CIA investigation. They compared dates, interviews, street rumors, and even moon phases. They pointed out the eerie coincidence that Quando Rondo and Lil Tim both happened to give calm, humble interviews on the same day Durk was allegedly attacked. To them, wasn't coincidence, it was plot development. Quando Rando's comments about wishing things went differently only made fans more suspicious. Lil Tim's emotional reflection had people doubting reality. The internet didn't trust sudden humility. They said humility in gangland drama is like a unicorn. It only appears when cameras are rolling or deals are being made. The contrast between Durk's alleged jail struggles and his rival's calm public appearances made fans uneasy. And uneasy fans create more theories than scientists in a lab, as if the drama needed another twist. Legal experts chimed in with new predictions. They said the prosecution's reliance on lyrics was shaky. They said Durk's lawyers had a strong First Amendment argument. They said using rap as evidence required more than vibes and assumptions. That sparked a whole new wave of debates. Some argued rappers should stop putting their business in songs. Others argued rappers were storytellers and shouldn't be punished for metaphors. But the loudest group said prosecutors were lazy and reaching. Still, the biggest hit to Durk's image wasn't the case. It was the narrative war that took on a life of its own. Fans began noticing patterns. They said Durk always went live after someone passed, as if creating timestamps to prove his innocence. They said the timing was too sharp, too rehearsed. They started going back through old videos, analyzing every facial expression, every sentence, every pause. They claimed he was using social media as his digital alibi system. Others said it was grief, not guilt. But in the court of public opinion, logic rarely wins. Meanwhile, the rumor mill dragged out Jam, the alleged first snitch. The internet wondered why nobody had heard from him after he allegedly cooperated. People speculated everything from witness protection to retaliation. They treated his disappearance like a thriller subplot. Bloggers created clickbait titles. Reddit threads multiplied. Fans acted like detectives searching for a lost character in a TV series. The uncertainty fueled paranoia, which fueled more theories, which fueled more drama. And the cycle never stopped. But the most concerning consequence wasn't the memes or debates. It was how deeply the case fractured relationships within Durk's world. Vanny's father calling out his own son created a ripple effect of distrust in the streets. People who once stayed silent suddenly started speaking. Families argued. Crews argued. Fans argued. Everyone had an opinion, and none of the opinions matched. It was chaos wrapped inside, confusion layered with emotion. Durk's legal team, meanwhile, kept grinding. They filed more motions, more petitions, more responses. They argued vagueness. They demanded specifics. They insisted the prosecution was bluffing. They pushed for clearer charges. They pushed for bond. But the judge remained cautious. The federal system doesn't bend easily, especially in cases tied to multiple incidents, multiple witnesses, and multiple narratives swirling at once. And the biggest barrier: money. Not just Durk's money, the amount of money prosecutors feared he could use. The judge worried that if Durk was released, he might use his resources to influence witnesses. The lawyers argued he wouldn't. The prosecutors argued he would. And the judge seemed stuck between risk and fairness. Durk's father walked out of the hearing optimistic, but optimism didn't change the severity of the charge. A for-hire allegation is no small claim. Even when built on fragments, the deeper the case went, the more the streets felt the pressure. Members from different sides started acting out. People were allegedly targeted. People allegedly retaliated. The ecosystem of Chicago street politics was vibrating with tension. The internet wasn't helping. Each rumor added stress. Each theory added fear. Each leaked document added pressure. Even celebrities outside